Hey, Elizabeth, what's up?
Hi,
How are you?
I am doing okay. How are you?
I'm good. It's a little bit weird when this thing finally happens, right?
Yeah, it is a little bit strange. I wasn't expecting anyone to actually get back to me.
Yep. Well, we called your bluff. We call. So what's up?
Um, so I guess I'll just ask my question first. I know a lot of people usually. Oh, I talk really fast, so if I talk too fast, just let me know.
Oh, I do too. People are gonna have
Um,
to slow this episode down off the 1.5 because we'll get going. That'll be fun. All right, go for it.
okay, so my question is, how do I encourage or support my husband in taking on more of that dad role and stop identifying as a single mom?
Flip that around for me. Let's don't talk about your husband. Let's talk about you.
Okay.
Ask that question because you exhale in the middle of it, which makes me think there's a question beneath the question. So, but back that thing up and let's say, what's really going on? Or ask that question, what's really at the heart?
Um, I'm not really sure. I think it's probably just because it wasn't a very great morning in regards to the whole situation, so I'm still a little bit upset and stressed out about that.
Okay.
So.
This morning was a real life example of why you were calling in, and how do you change your identity? Tell me about your being a single mom.
So I became a mom when I was just 19.
Okay.
So pretty young. And then I have 3 kids. My second kid I had when I was 21, and then I just had my third with my now husband. Just she's not even 1 yet. She's little.
Okay. And how long have you been married?
Almost 2 years.
Okay. And the first 2 kids, same dad? Married to that?
That's where all the hate's gonna come from. I know how people view people like me.
Well, no, whoa,
all different fathers.
Hey, don't cast that on me. Hey.
No, I'm casting that on the audience, and probably I shouldn't read the comments. I'm sure.
Do not read the comments. Yeah, don't.
No, I didn't think I should.
We're having an interaction here. Don't read the comments. The comments are what people are going through on their particular day and their particular time, and so some of them are computers, and so it's all good. So you got pregnant. You're 19. You had a baby. You were a young mom.
I actually got pregnant when I was 18. I was still in high school.
Okay, you got pregnant in high school, and then you had that baby. Did you do it all by yourself? Did your parents help? How'd that happen?
I lived with my mom. She was my dad left when I was like 14, so kind of single mom situation. So I lived with her. Yeah, probably why I ended up in the same situation. But no, I lived with her until her daughter was about 1, and then I went off on my own. I started college when she was about 6 months old.
Okay. And then you got pregnant again, with a different dad?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I met him. Everything was like okay. And then we moved in together. I graduated from college, and then I had the second baby, but then I found paperwork about him still being married. And I didn't know that. I thought they were done. So I asked him about it, and he was like, yeah, why do you want to know? And I'm like, well, because we live together. We have a family together. And he still talked to his wife like every day. I told him I needed to stop and officially get divorced, and he wouldn't, so I left.
Okay. And then you met this new guy. Y'all got married?
Yes.
Tell me about him.
Let's see. So he was in the military. So was my father. Kind of reminds me of my father a little bit, honestly. Very respectful guy. Very good to his family. He works in security now. He was married before too. He's divorced. He was only married when he was in the military.
You're telling me all about him? Tell me about
I
him.
don't know. I don't.
Do you love this guy?
Yes,
Is he safe?
very much. Yes.
When you think about him, do your shoulders drop and you exhale, or is he another in the long line of men who have, in some shape, form, or fashion, told you they loved you and then disappeared on you, like your dad, like your high school boyfriend, like the first guy that you found out was still married?
Yeah, sometimes that was the whole thing this morning with him yelling that he was done with our family in front of the 3 kids, which was a little bit upsetting.
Okay.
So
he's not on the phone.
There's never any like stability or security in knowing that there's somebody there,
Okay.
which I should have learned my lesson by this point. But
do you allow for stability and security, or do you go seeking chaos? And if you don't have chaos, you create it.
yeah, I don't really know how to function
That's
unless
exactly right.
my life is chaos.
That's right.
Like even when things are fine and there's no stressors, like my whole body trembles because I'm like freaked out. I don't know why. And it's like bizarre. Because
your body has had to create tiny little pockets of safety amidst chaos your whole life. I'm going to be super honest and direct with you. Is that cool?
Yeah.
We're best friends forever?
Yes, BFFs. We can make bracelets.
All right, excellent. I'll expect mine in the mail. That'd be dope. I dropped my son off for school this morning, and my daughter and I went and had breakfast at a local McDonald's. And we played games, and we hassled each other, and she rolled her eyes almost out of the back of her head a few times, and we laughed really hard. And a few times when she was crawling up this thing in the playground, I got choked up because I love that girl more than life itself. And that's how dads are supposed to treat their daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't get that.
No, not really.
No, hold on. Don't brush it off and be all hard, dude. Because this guy's going to bail too. You've spent your entire life having to be the hardest person in the room because you had to be. And that kept you alive. And that's going to be what destroys all of your grown-up relationships until you decide to stop.
Yeah, which I think I'm pushing him away because every time he raises his voice to the kids and disciplines them and everything, it's like I respond with, I need to protect my children, and I get triggered by it, and then he feels like he's disrespected and undermined, and then he doesn't want to be home with us.
But all of this, and he would sit down and tell me the same things about you on the other end. All of this is you have never learned, and I'm not saying this in a character way or you're some kind of broken, you're not.
No.
But you've never learned how to sit down, the skills, how to sit down and say, I want to create a home that is peaceful. I want to create a home that is filled with laughter and silliness and 3 knuckleheaded kids, because it's going to be hard with 3 little kids and we're all real young.
Mm-hmm.
And you're both dealing with past relationship issues. And everybody joined this family. Can we practice that? And you don't know how to do that. And so you just go plowing through, and he goes plowing through, and you create this self-fulfilling prophecy for yourself. And then he's going to bail because he can't take it anymore. And whether that's him yelling and he needs to learn how to respond like a grown-up and not a child to his kids, or you're tasing him and pushing him away and causing loop-de-loop-de-loop. See what I'm saying? Nobody wants to be married to a cinder block. And you've had to be a cinder block your whole life. And I guess to answer your original question, when you got hurt and that little 14-year-old girl is still sitting there looking in the mirror, brushing her hair, saying, God almighty, what's so bad about me that dad left? And then some guy at 16 and some guy at 17 and some guy at 18 said, no, I'll love you. And some guy at 19 and some guy at 20 said, no, I'll love you. Until you decide, I'm going to take that suit of armor off and risk loving again and risk allowing someone to hurt me again, because that's what happens in vulnerable relationships. People are just going to keep bouncing off that Teflon suit you wear. Is it worth that?
I don't know. I think I'm trying to protect my children from having the same childhood that I did, but
And you're going to create it.
inadvertently giving that to
That's exactly right. You're going to create it.
creating it.
Right. And if you've ever listened to the show for very long, you've heard me say, we marry our unfinished business.
Yeah, that's why I said he has some characteristics of my father.
That's right. And your body is drawn to that like a magnet, because your body's going to solve that question. What was so bad about me that Dad left? And you need to hear me say, your dad left because something was up with him, not you. Him, not you. You're a 14-year-old, beautiful, precious little girl. And by the way, you're also kind of a badass teen mom. And then you had a baby and said, I'm going to still go to college. I'm going to plow through. You're an amazing young woman.
I got my master's too.
I know. But I'd rather you not have a master's and have 2 kids who love you and a stable job and a 3rd kid who's just going, bah, bah, and you practicing relationship than saying, look at all these achievements on the wall. Look at all these certificates I have while your world burns down around you. Here's how I know that. I have 1 bachelor's degree, 1 master's degree, and 2 PhDs. And after my 2nd PhD is when my reckoning came, because I couldn't run from relationship issues anymore. I kept trying to achieve and prove to the world that I was worthy of being loved, and it never came. And so all I'm trying to tell you to do is you can short circuit the heartache I went through, and you can save yourself a lot of extra energy and exhaustion and sleepless nights and fights with people that otherwise you love by saying, okay, I can't. I got to sit down with somebody and heal from this madness, because I don't want to recreate this with my kids, and I'm on a bullet train to start this whole cycle over again. Is that fair?
Yeah.
What do you need to feel safe and loved in your own home?
I guess trust that there isn't always a trapdoor underneath our relationship. Okay. And that at any moment, if the children don't behave correctly, or if I don't behave correctly, and I'm not saying that, like, there's obvious reasons that your spouse would not behave correctly and you need to get out of the relationship, but that it's just, if these things don't happen, then I'm gone.
Oh, so you're kind of living under the sword of Damocles, right? You're like living under a threat at all times.
Yeah, it's kind of what it feels like sometimes.
Okay.
Like walking on eggshells sometimes.
There you go. What would he tell me that he lives under with you? Like, to be honest and reflective.
He would probably say that he never gets respect in his own home, and that yeah, just honestly probably that. Just a lot of undermining. Like,
okay.
He's a man's man and wants to be treated like a man's man, and that's kind of...
Well, he doesn't act like a man's man if he's screaming and running his mouth at little kids.
Well, that's what I did say this morning. I said, you're being childish. You need to walk away.
Okay. That's probably not helpful, but...
No, it wasn't.
Right? Here's the deal. If you were my friend, like my close friend, my sister, you were one of my ride or dies, like, that I've been friends with for a long time, and you called me with this exact same story, here's what I would tell you to say. A, I would be real particular with you about, are you safe? Does this guy have an anger issue and a safety issue? Does he just get so frustrated at the situation, at 2 kids that aren't his, at his being a dad who's also a veteran, who's also going through a divorce, who's also all this stuff, a wife who has had to wear a suit of armor for the last 4 or 5 or 6 years, or really since she was 14, so maybe the last 10 years, and he keeps trying to love her and connect with her, and he can't because he's bouncing off a metal suit of armor. So I would ask about the safety part of it. But after that, sweetheart, I would sit down with him and I would say, all right, here's one thing that's become true to me, clear to me. I don't know how to do this. I want to love. I want to have peace in my house. I want to be all gross and googly eyed and ugh. And I want to be a mom that my kids just exhale when they think of me. And I want them to have a dad where they feel the same thing. And I don't know how to do this. Will you? And clearly you don't either. Will you walk with me? Go to counseling with me, figure out how to do this, because I have to learn how to do all of this because I never got it as a kid. And I swear I'm not going to do this to my kids. You've proven to the world that you're tough, Elizabeth. We get it. You're an amazing woman when it comes to strength and grit. But what most people who dedicate their life to strength and grit realize is that's not enough. Underneath strength and grit is an even scarier dragon, and it's the dragon of vulnerability and connection and honesty and the willingness to get back in the arena and risk getting hurt again for safety, peace, love, purpose, all of it. All of it. And I promise you, when you're 60, your kids aren't going to say, my mom got a master's degree. They're going to say, my mom was either there, all in, or my mom wasn't. I don't want to put that on you, but that's on you. And notice when you sit down with him, I didn't start with, you need to do this, this, and we're not doing that. We're not going to say you. We're going to say I. Maybe write all this stuff down. But you're worth it, Elizabeth, and he is too. Those little kids especially are. Let's commit to changing the whole thing. But let's commit that we don't need to be tough anymore. We got it. We got it. You can do this.